and welcome back to GavGoesIn. So, Robert Lewandowski, contract not to be renewed, I think it's safe to say, guys, that it's probably an end of an era now in terms of the great strikers in world football. You think of the likes of Karim Benzema, you think of Luis Suarez, Sergio Aguero, obviously Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, probably a few others as well. I think it's well and truly now that era of footballers, them strikers are all done now, And for me, I'd possibly say, in terms of strikers, it's probably been one of the best eras of strikers for the kind of players that was on the show. And I think the fact that Lewandowski now, is 37, and it's a case where Lewandowski now obviously won't have his contract renewed. Contract's due to expire next year, June. I think I'm more, well, I say I'm more concerned, but I want to see who Barcelona actually target, because I think definitely, Barcelona do need to get a replacement. I don't see anyone at the club right now that they'll be probably looking at as someone that they're going to rely on in that sense as to lead the line for them for years to come. So, yeah, I definitely think Robert Lewandowski, definitely end of an era. And again, it'll be interesting to see where he actually goes to. I think if you're looking at the likes of in Europe, I don't really see where he goes, if I'm honest. I reckon he'd possibly go back to Poland, and probably play for one of his very first teams and then hang up the boots from there, But I think in terms of his career, I think his career has been, it's been nothing short of sensational, really. As I said, I think Robert Lewandowski is a striker that is slept on. I think when people talk about the best strikers in the world right now, I think only due to his age, and the fact that obviously as you get older, it does get harder. I definitely think due to his age, it's one of them things for me that this is why he's not really being talked about, and not to forget as well that he has been slightly injured over the last couple of months as well. So I think, yeah, he is slept on as a striker. I think if you were to do a poll of who's the best strikers in the world or who's the best strikers of their generation, I don't think a lot of people would have Lewandowski as the top striker, But I think in terms of his numbers, which we're going to go through in a minute, he is definitely someone for me that is one of the top strikers of his generation for sure. And I definitely do think he is someone. He definitely is someone that is slept on. 100%. He's definitely slept on. I think, if you look at his career, he's played for some of the biggest teams in the world. Obviously, he's now at Barcelona. You think of Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund as well. And even when he first went to Borussia Dortmund, I didn't really know too much about him. I remember he actually replaced a striker. I can't remember his name, Chilean guy. And he was banging in goals as well. And then when Lewandowski rocked up, again, I didn't know too much about him, but there was a lot of hype around him, saying that he's going to be, a big striker in years to come. And at Borussia Dortmund under Jurgen Klopp, you think of when they had Blaszczykowski, his countryman on the right-hand side. They had Mario Götze as well. Even Ilkay Gundogan in there as well. Obviously, Marco Reus later come as well from Borussia Mönchengladbach, Subotic, Hummels. That team that Klopp had with Lewandowski spearheading the attack, that was a great team, man. And that was a team that I watched a lot of as well, because Mario Götze for me was one of my favourite players coming through. And obviously Lewandowski was doing his stuff, and then that's what got him the move to Bayern Munich. And as we know, Bayern Munich always take a lot of the players from their rivals, most notably from Dortmund, in that league. But I think at Bayern Munich, I think this is where Lewandowski for me went to another level, And at Bayern Munich, he was clearly the best striker in the world at the time. I think, again, Luis Suarez, Sergio Aguero, Karim Benzema, etc. would have had something to say about that. Obviously, Harry Kane was coming through as well. But yeah, Lewandowski was definitely one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best, in his prime at Bayern Munich. I remember the game when Bayern actually played Chelsea in the Champions League, and they absolutely destroyed Chelsea. I think the score must have been something like, I want to say 6-1 or something like that. And Lewandowski, I think he got a hat trick, and he was unstoppable in that game. So I think, yeah, man, definitely one of the best strikers. And again, just going through Lewandowski's numbers, I mean, 614 goals in 832 appearances, which is ridiculous, really, And I think I checked something earlier, and it said something like 810 goals in 832 appearances, but I'm not sure where those other goals have come from. I don't know if it's from friendlies and stuff like that. I ain't got a clue, but I think it's 614 goals in 832 appearances. And for Borussia Dortmund, 103 goals in 187 appearances. Bayern Munich, as I said, which is where he went to another level, 344 goals in 375 appearances. And then Barcelona, 105 goals in 156 appearances. So, yeah, as I said, man, ridiculous numbers, and again, he's a striker that's always consistent in terms of putting that ball in the back of the net. Big up to Sound Phone for Mavong 11. Big up. What's that? Filipino. Big up for coming through. And then obviously his previous clubs, Lech Poznan, 41 in 82. Zinix Pruzhikal, that was his first ever club, 21 in 32. And obviously for Poland, 86 goals in 160 appearances. So again, Robert Lewandowski, man, ridiculous striker, ridiculous numbers, and always consistent. Even for Barcelona, where he has picked up a few injuries, the guy is always consistent in terms of numbers. 105 in 156 appearances, which is mad. So okay, big up, man. It says, how do you stream? What do you mean? How do I stream? Give me an example of what you mean, man. So yeah, as I said, Lewandowski's numbers, man, insane numbers, and yeah, big up, man. Appreciate it. Big up to Fitz as well. Says, what club do you think Lewandowski will end up next? Good question, man. I personally think he goes back to Poland. You think of Lewandowski, what he's gonna be? He's 37 now. He turned 37, I believe, in August. So I think if you're looking at Lewandowski, there ain't really nothing for him to achieve, really. I think it's a case of I mean, he's won Bundesliga, he's won La Liga, he's won Champions League. There ain't really nothing for him to achieve, really, in club football. The only thing I would say is that if you're Lewandowski, though, you must be, like pissed that the season that he should have won the Ballon d'Or, yeah, it was the season I think they actually scrapped it. So yeah, he should have won a Ballon d'Or 100%, and there's no doubting for me, because I think he got scrapped. When I know there's a lot of people that think that was done on purpose, but for me, yeah, he should have definitely won a Ballon d'Or in that season, because he was unplayable, and that's the one blemish I think he'll probably be looking at. But as I said, man, I think in terms of his club wise, I don't see him. There's nothing for him left to prove in Europe, so I can see him going back to Poland. Lech Poznan was a team he was at before he joined Borussia Dortmund. So I think he might go back there, man. 37 years of age. As I said, there's nothing left for him to prove in Europe, really. He's played for two of the biggest clubs in Europe, in Bayern Munich and Barcelona. He's won league titles and Champions League. So I think now at 37, man, he can go and relax and enjoy the twilight of his career, playing for his hometown club. Yeah, I mean, I do hear it. MLS, yeah, MLS, Saudi might be a possibility. But I just think because he's 37, I can just see it being a Poland thing. I don't think he's gonna go and play anywhere in Europe for me. I mean, I'd love to see Lewandowski in the Premier League personally, but at his age, there's no one that's gonna be in for him at his age. Big up to Sham. Big up Sham for coming through. Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be anyone in the Premier League that will try and get Lewandowski at his age and probably how much he's gonna want in wages as well. So I think, yeah, 100%, man. I think he does go to Poland. You know, if he does go to America or to Saudi for the money, then fair enough. But I think Poland's the obvious route that he'll probably take. If I'm honest with you, I think in terms of the World Cup as well, I think Poland are in the World Cup. I believe, and I think this. Well, I don't think. I think this will be his last World Cup as well. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Poland are in the World Cup. I know there was a bit of problem with the previous manager, which I'm not sure if he's still there. But yeah, I definitely think that Lewandowski, for me, is definitely going to be. Yeah, he's definitely going to hang up his boots, man. For me, after the World Cup, man, 100%. And yeah, as I said, what a career, man, guys. I'm going to put a little poll on the screen. I want to see what you guys think. Spare me 1 minute. I'm going to put a little poll in there. So let's see. Let's see. So who is the best striker of their generation between these players? So yeah, little poll, guys. Let's see what you guys think. You know, I think these are the kind of ones that are difficult to do, but it's always good. Yeah, it's always good to get people's views. Big up to BHS as well. Says, how are you doing? I'm all good, my guy. Suffering a bit of the flu, but listen, I got my boxing coming up. You know, my training starts on Wednesday, so yeah, man. Listen, there's nothing stopping me, man. But yeah, I've been suffering with flu, man, the last couple of days, but it's not as bad now. It's getting better. But big up yourself as well. So, guys, yeah, who is the best striker of their generation? Benzema, Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski. So make sure you guys get voting. Lewandowski is winning it at the moment on 100%. One vote. Let's get voting, guys. Let me know what you think. And also, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of... who do you think Barca are going to target as their next striker? Because for me, you know, I've spoken about this previously. I just don't see the dearth of strikers really in world football that can go to Barcelona. Because again, if you look at the best strikers in the world that everyone's saying, you know, you got Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, and obviously Mbappe. Well, he's not a natural striker, but obviously he's playing through the middle. So if you look at, you know, the fact that Mbappe, obviously, at Real Madrid, so that's a non-starter. The same with Erling Haaland. Harry Kane is the wrong side of 30. So, you know, those are the three that everyone's looking at as the three best right now. And then you go on to the next batch of the likes of Alexander Isak. Obviously, he's not going nowhere from Liverpool. You might want to put Ekatike in there as well. But in the Premier League, there's no one else really. Then you look into Spain. There ain't really no one, you would say. I mean, you got Julian Alvarez, but Julian Alvarez is more of a 10, I would say. You know, he's not like an out-and-out striker. Is that the way Barca might want to go back to the false nine? Who knows? You look in Germany, Guirassy is obviously the wrong side of 30. Um, I'm trying to think who else there is. So this is the problem, guys. There ain't really too many strikers out there that are either gettable or of the level that a Barcelona would be looking at to replace Lewandowski. So it's crazy, man. It is crazy because I just wonder where they pivot to now. Because if you look at the fact that they've got Ferran Torres, and Rashford, two guys that are actual wide players but can play through the middle. They're the only guys I'm really looking at to be, well, I say I'm looking at. They're the only guys that are there at the moment. But would you be confident of having those two if Rashford was to be signed by Barca going into next season with them two as your striking options? Because I don't think that's good enough, So again, I just don't know what strikers are viable for them, if I'm honest, because I think the strikers market is absolutely dead, 100% dead. Benzema 2022 was fire in the Champions League. Yeah, listen, man, top player, man. As I said, if anyone didn't know, Benzema modeled his game on R9. R9 was his idol. And again, I think when a lot of people have watched Benzema now, they probably wouldn't realize that because Benzema was more of a facilitator for Cristiano Ronaldo. But then when Benzema first come to the club, or when he was at Lyon, he modeled his game on R9, and you could see traits when he was at Lyon of how he played was reminiscent of R9. And then obviously going to Real Madrid, he had to adapt his game. But then you saw what a top player Benzema was as soon as Ronaldo went, because he took that team on his back, and they won, was it back-to-back Champions Leagues? So it just showed you how good Benzema really was, And I'm someone that's watched Benzema's whole career. I watched him when he made his debut for the France under-21s. I remember when they played against England, and I thought at that time, like, who's this striker? Because he just looked special. And again, he was nothing like he was when he was at Real Madrid in his early years, should I say. But yeah, man, top striker, man. Top striker. Barca look at someone like Lautaro. Do you know what? I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, Lautaro might have been someone that would have been looked at. But I think now, I don't think they'll look at Lautaro, if I'm honest. And again, Lautaro is more of a Julian Alvarez for me. I think if you're looking at replacing Lewandowski, you need a number 9. And again, number 9s are few and far between in terms of a Lewandowski. You need a number 9 striker that you could look at that possibly will score goals. But they're not really out there. And the ones that are possibly out there, you're not going to get them. So, and that's what I said, Sham. As I said, man, I said Isak would have been the perfect replacement for Lewandowski. But the fact that he chose Liverpool, I was surprised, but it didn't really make sense for me. But I think he definitely would have been the perfect. You look at his age, 26, going into Barca in his prime years, played in La Liga before as well. He'd have been a perfect replacement for Lewandowski. But I just don't know where they're going to pivot to next, man. I'm not too sure. BHS says, Gav, which strikers would you choose in the poll? Yeah, big up, man. Guys, make sure you're voting in the poll, man, for the best strikers of the generation in that list. Benzema, Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski. And for me, you know what it is, yeah? It's difficult because I honestly can't tell. I honestly cannot, like, separate these 4 because I rate all 4 of these players all in different ways, But if I was to narrow it down to 2, for me, it would have to be Benzema or Aguero for me. I think, again, when I'm narrowing it down to 2, leaving out Suarez and Lewandowski is just madness because it could either be them 2 as well. But I'm just saying on personal preference and players that I like to watch, again, Sergio Aguero, I've followed Aguero since he was at Independiente when he made his debut at 15 for them in the first team, which is ridiculous. And then obviously when he did come to Atletico Madrid, and again at Atletico Madrid, man, with his mullet, if anyone remembers, Aguero was just on a madness, and yeah, I followed his career, man. And obviously at Man City, you guys obviously saw the devastation that he was doing for Man City. What annoyed me is that going to Barca, playing with Messi, it didn't materialise because obviously the problems that Aguero had, which meant that he had to quit the game. But if I'm picking between Benzema and Aguero, I yeah, I'm just gonna say Benzema. I don't think people realize, how good of a player how good Benzema was for how good Benzema was for France, how good he was for Real Madrid and Lyon. The guy was unbelievable, man, when he was coming through. And it's one of them things where it's one of them things as well that, as I said, he went into his shell when he was at. I'll say no, I'll take that back. He didn't go into his shell. I think because Ronaldo was there, Ronaldo was the big name, the big signing as well. Lewandowski was that intelligent. He adapted his game so Ronaldo could get numbers. But then when Ronaldo went, you saw how good Benzema was when he spearheaded the team to the Champions League. With Vinicius Junior one side and with Rodrigo the other side. So yeah, I'm gonna say Benzema, man. But as I said, I wouldn't begrudge anyone that picks any one of them players. And at the moment, Benzema and Lewandowski 43%, Aguero 14%, and Suarez surprisingly 0%. And again, some people might even put Suarez at the top because Suarez was that good, But yeah, it's crazy, man, crazy. He had to play a support role for CR7. Yeah, he did. And again, it's one of them things where the reason why Ronaldo was so devastated in a sense for goals for Real Madrid, because just look at his supporting cost as well. And again, this is how Ronaldo stayed relevant to keep up with Messi, because Messi was a pure creator, but again, Messi was someone that just scored goals as well. Ronaldo's game and why he became competing with Messi is basically due to numbers. He was getting obscene numbers to stay in touch with Messi. But I think if anyone that's a real football fan and knows their football would know that there's no comparison between Messi and Ronaldo. Like, Messi is just a God-given talent, and Ronaldo is just he's a product of hard work, you would say. But again, two great players in their own right, and you know what I mean? It's one of them things. But yeah, Benzema 100% had to play a support role. And that just shows how good he was, because you had Benzema, who was arguably one of the best players in the world, having to adapt his game for CR7. And then, as I said, when he goes, you see what happens, Bench one, delete one, play one. I like these ones. So I would start Caicedo. I would bench Casemiro, and then I would sell Kante. And the reason for that, I would start Caicedo because I think as a midfield player, I think defensively and attacking wise, I don't see any weaknesses to his game. I think he's probably one of the first midfielders, actually, no, I'll say he's probably the one midfielder of this recent era that is probably, 7 to 8 out of 10 across the board in terms of midfields. There ain't no weaknesses really to Caicedo's game. So that's why I'll start him. Casemiro, I would have him on the bench because, out of all three of them midfielders, Casemiro is likely to get you a goal. And obviously bring him off the bench if you need to try and change the flow of the game. I do think Casemiro can come off the bench and get a goal from a set piece or from a corner. And then Kante, I think with his qualities in terms of his ball winning, his energy, I think you could sell him for money, for massive money to reinvest in the squad. So, yeah. So start Caicedo, bench Casemiro, and sell or delete Kante. But I'd rather say sell, not delete, because you're getting money for him, Mr. Big Up says Ronaldo's the best of all time. Maybe for you, not for me. So it is what it is. Chris, the YouTuber, says Ever PL. I'm not sure what that means. Ever PL. Not sure what that means. But guys, get your votes in. Come on. So Benzema, 38%. Lewandowski, 50%. Aguero, 12%. And still Luis Suarez, 0%. I'm surprised Sham hasn't voted on Suarez. I'm surprised there's not been those votes on Suarez. Maybe he's it's not biased at all. Yeah. Guys, as well, make sure you guys become a member of the channel, guys. Obviously, there's some good things coming up on this channel. You know, I'll be hosting a Q&A for members only. Obviously, I've got some posts on there as well, which will let you know, obviously, my past as well. There's some good things on there, which is members only. And then, obviously, as I said to you guys before, I've got my boxing fight coming up in on the 6th of December. So I'll be doing some content, some videos basically on my training, etc. So yeah, they'll be going on the members only section. So again, if you guys want to view that, then make sure you guys do become a member and support the channel. And as always, if you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you do. And if you're new in here, make sure you sub to the channel as well. So yeah, we are well, I think it's roughly about just over 300 to 2K subs, guys. So again, if you haven't subbed, make sure you do. And as well, guys, make sure you share the channel as well. Big up yourselves. So yeah, let me know what you think of Lewandowski. Do you think it's the end of an era for these great strikers now? Obviously, the poll's up already. Lewandowski, Aguero, Suarez, Benzema. Let me know what you think. And let me know where you think... let me know who you think Barcelona will target as their next striker. Because I'll be honest with you, this is probably one of the hardest things because there's no viable option out there. Because if you're looking at Barca signing a new striker, you'd have to believe that it's going to be someone that is 20 years or younger. You know, I said, you know, looking at Barcelona and the history of what they do in terms of signing South American strikers, you know, you think of even like before Javier Saviola, you know, even not even just strikers, in forwards. You know, you think of Rivaldo, Romario, Saviola, obviously Messi, Suarez, Neymar, Alexis Sanchez. You know, there's probably a few others I've forgotten, but you know, they always get South Americans. You know, whether it's forwards or strikers, and this is why I said, yeah, even though he's not in the Premier League no more. Obviously, he went to Saudi. And then he went to, I think he's playing in Turkey now. I said, yeah, John Duran, yeah, because of his age, was he 21, I think now? Because of his age, because of his quality as well, the fact that he's South American, I just don't understand why a Barca wouldn't be at least interested in him. You know, there's been talk about, obviously, his attitude, etc., which I'm not really believing, you know, but I definitely do think he should be one that should be looked at. And I think the fact that he's playing in Turkey, I think this is why his name's gone quiet. But I think I'm looking at John Duran really as someone that Barca could get a lot out of, you know, and I think he's definitely someone that they should be targeting. Yeah, you think of Aguero as well, yeah. Barca have signed older strikers for a while now, though. Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski. I just can't see them sign a young striker. I hear it. You know, you think of Vitor Roque as well, another Brazilian. You know, obviously, they signed him as the replacement, really, for when Luis Suarez left. And as we know, Vitor Roque wasn't the level. But I think if you're looking at the older strikers now, again, the reason why I'm saying I can't see them sign an older striker is because if you're looking at the top strikers in the world, there ain't no strikers that are 30 years of age that they can go and get. There's not. I mean, Harry Kane, Barca are not going to sign Harry Kane. I can't see that because it wouldn't make no sense when Lewandowski's 37, Harry Kane's what, 31 or 32, you know. So I don't see that happening. And again, there's no other strikers. I don't see them signing Serhou Guirassy. So yeah, man, it is mad because there's just no strikers out there, which is why, as I said previously, man, I think he would have been the perfect one, Isak. He would have been the perfect one, 100%. But yeah, it's looking like yeah, it's looking like I don't know where they go. I mean, you look at Ekatike, for instance. You know, if he wasn't at Liverpool, you know, he would have been a viable option if he was still at Eintracht Frankfurt. You know, Joshua Zirkzee for me. You know, I don't know why Barca wouldn't look at him. You know, in terms of the age, in terms of him fitting into Barca's system. But again, it depends what Barca want, because I think the number 9 striker in terms of numbers, it's not really there. I think if you separate the likes of Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, you know, one guy's 30 years 30, older than 30. The other one's on a death row contract at Man City. Isak's just gone Liverpool as well. You know, Mbappe's at Real Madrid. Like, those 4 players are really out of the question. So then, this is why I say now, who's next? Because there ain't really no one else that's viable. And this is the problem. So, yeah, it's crazy. But let's see this poll. So, yeah, Lewandowski's winning it. Again, I'm actually surprised that people actually think Lewandowski is the best of his generation. You know, and again, big up to everyone that has voted. But I definitely didn't see Lewandowski being top. I think if we're looking at those 4, if you're looking at bottom place, you know, I would have thought a lot of people would have had Lewandowski bottom, funny enough. You know, and again, being bottom of that 4 is no, like, it's not meaning you're bottom of the pile, really. It's just that that's a hard order to kind of put in. But, you know, I thought a lot of people would have favoured other strikers ahead of Lewandowski. But again, man, it just shows you how good Lewandowski is and how well he's thought of. Because, as I said, his numbers are mad. So, guys, I read to you again. Robert Lewandowski, 614 goals in 832 appearances, which is crazy. You know, 103 and 187 for Borussia Dortmund, 344 in 375 for Bayern Munich, and he's got 105 in 156 for Barcelona. And then obviously his first 2 clubs in Poland, Zenit's Pruszków, 21 in 32, and then Lech Poznan, 41 in 82. And then Poland, 86 in 160. So the guy has shown wherever he's gone that he's prolific, you know, and what a striker, man. But yeah, definitely an end of an era now, you would definitely say. No, there's no doubt in that, you know. So yeah, where Barca look now, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Is Zidane the best or Ruud Gullit? Again, it's hard to say, really, because Ruud Gullit wasn't really in my day. But even though Ruud Gullit was a top player, from some of the clips that I did see, I think. I mean, you know what it is, yeah, with Zidane. Yeah, Zidane was a great man. He was, you know. When I say my 3 best ever players, Zidane's actually not in there, because my 3 is R9, Ronaldinho, and Messi. They're my 3. And then again, just underneath that, you've got Zidane, you've got Neymar, you've got Pogba, you've got Iniesta, Busquets, Hazard. You know, there's loads of players, man. Adriano for me, the Emperor, Brazilian. Like, there's loads of players. You know, there's even ones I've forgotten. That's how many top players that there was. And as I said, Zidane, man, for me, when you knew Zidane was great, yeah. And again, if anyone's seen the World Cup, the same World Cup where he headbutted Marco Materazzi, just go and watch France versus Brazil. I believe was the semi-final. Just go and watch that game, and just watch. If you've got time, sit down and watch France versus Brazil, and just have a watch what Zidane was doing in that game. Like, put it this way, yeah. I've already told you my top 3. No, I'm talking about France versus Brazil, the semi-final, where Zidane got sent off in the final against Italy for headbutting Materazzi. But the semi-final, I believe, was France versus Brazil. And as I said, my top 3 GOATs, yeah, and I'm not mentioning Maradona and Pele, because again, they weren't my time, and Johan Cruyff and that, they're not my time. But the 2 of my GOATs were R9 and Ronaldinho, yeah. Guys, just go and have a watch that France versus Brazil if you get a chance. And you'll just see what absolute madness that Zidane was doing in that game. And that's why when people say who's the best, Zidane always comes up, because what I see him do in that game to my greats, like it was a joke, put it that way. So Zidane or Ruud Gullit, as I said, man, it's good debate, but I can't really answer because Gullit wasn't really my time. Zidane I saw a lot of, and Zidane's one of the best for me. R9 is the best striker for me. This guy was a beast at his peak. Yeah, listen, there hasn't been a better striker than R9. There hasn't been. I'm yet to see a striker come close to R9. I'm yet to see a striker come close to R9. As I said, the closest player to R9 who actually modelled his game on R9 was Karim Benzema. But in terms of a striker better than R9, I can't see anyone being better than R9. Impossible, And this isn't to do with goals. It's not to do with trophies won, etc. Again, just go and watch R9. R9 was ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. There was no weakness to his game as a striker. He had literally everything. So, yeah, definitely my favourite ever player and the best striker for me, man. Hands down. I think the only player I would say that could have emulated him, but again, his career was short-lived in a sense, was Adriano. I think Adriano for me was he could have gone on to, I'm not saying be better than R9, but he could have emulated R9 in that sense, because Adriano was an absolute joke. Again, if you're from the era of Adriano at Inter Milan, Fiorentina, Parma, you know what I'm talking about. Because I'll tell you now, that strike force of Adriano and Ibrahimovic for Inter, I've never seen a strike force like it, man. Like, you had two players who were identical. The difference was one was left-footed, one was right-footed. And again, you guys will know where I'm going with this. That's been watching channel for any amount of time. Just go and play some of the Pro Evo games, and you'll just see what Adriano and Ibra together were doing from certain angles. You know if you're shooting at a certain angle, you just know what's happening. So, but yeah, R9, man, for me, definitely. Yeah, Pranav, as I said, man, you're not listening to what I'm saying, Pranav. Like, go back and check the messages, what I'm saying. I said, go and watch the Brazil versus France game in the semi-final and watch what Zidane done to, well, just go and watch that game, see what he done to some of my greats, Ronaldinho, R9 and them. I'm not talking about the final. The final was France and Italy, which Materazzi got Zidane sent off. So, yeah. Big up, Big Zedra. Big up, my guy. Yeah, it's been a while, man. Big up. Big up yourself. Yeah, listen, Adriano was a cheat code, man. He was absolutely ridiculous, Adriano. Absolutely ridiculous. And again, I first knew of Adriano when, again, when they used to do in Italy, they used to do a thing called co-ownership, which I think's been, it's not a thing, it's been scrapped now. So co-ownership. So Adriano was at where was he at? Was he at Parma? And then, no, sorry, he was at Inter Milan, and then there was like a co-ownership with Parma and Fiorentina, where he spent a season on loan there before he went back to Inter. And that's when I first see Adriano, and I thought, who is this guy, man? He had a rocket of a left foot, strong, like he could finish. And again, going back to the days, again, I'm going to show my age, yeah? Going back to the days of Championship Manager, yeah, where you had Championship Manager. My first strike, when I was Man United, my first signing was Adriano. Number 10 on his back. That guy was hitting like 50 goals as a standard every season. He was devastating. Best striker in the game by a mile. Like every season I would sign Adriano when I start the game on Champ Manager before he got changed to Football Manager. And then I'll just sign Adriano, and he was bagging 50 goals standard. Like it wasn't even like a question of if. The guy was hitting 50 goals as a minimum in every season. Like, the guy was unplayable for me, you know. So yeah, man. Um, Ridiculous striker, man. Ridiculous. Yeah, listen, Obafemi Martins, Adriano. Yeah, listen. You know what's actually weird now, yeah? I used to go college back in the day, yeah? And on my course, there was because obviously Martins is Nigerian. Now, back when I went college, I would have been about, I want to say I was 18 or 19, I want to say. Maybe slightly a bit older. Um, and the guy that I was in college with at the time was, I want to say, about 5 or 6 years older than me. And he actually told me that Martins was actually from his neighborhood in Nigeria. And he actually told me at the time, Obafemi Martins was actually 4 years older than him. So again, when Martins was at Inter Milan, you know, obviously I think he came through, I think he would have been about 17 or 18 or something like that. But just from what I was told by that person, you know, Martins was a lot older than that, you know. And this guy was literally 5 or 6 years older than me. And he told me that Obafemi Martins was literally about 3 or 4 years older than him, which is crazy. So, yeah, it's madness, man. But if anyone remembers Obafemi Martins, man, with the low socks and the popping calf muscles, ridiculous. That strike force there, two left-footed players, one guy with absolutely ridiculous pace, and then Adriano was just as strong as anything. So yeah, man, crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, guys, listen. Anyone coming in with any racial nonsense, just talking shit, just time them out, man. Just time them out, block them, whatever. I ain't got time for this nonsense. But big up to the mods. Big up. A few rumors about the age thing with players from African nations, innit? Yeah, listen. We've heard all of this. You know what I mean, from before. Big up to Fitz, man. Yeah, listen. We've heard about all this, and as I said, Martins was definitely someone that looked a lot older than he was. You know, and as I said, the guy that I went college with, he actually confirmed it to me because he actually said Martins is actually from his country. Obviously, I knew Martins was Nigerian anyway, but he said that Martins actually from his area in Nigeria, and he knew that Martins was older than him by about 3 or 4 years. So, yeah, a lot of these stories are true. And again, he actually told me the reason why a lot of them, which we know anyway, say that they're younger than what they are, is to have longevity in the game. You know what I mean? So, but again, we kind of know that anyway, you know? So, yeah, it's one of them thing. Yeah, big up, my guy. Listen, getting through this international break, it is mad. I'm not gonna lie. It is actually mad because it is actually mad because it's hard. You know, it's hard because there hasn't really been any good international games coming up either. And you know, I wouldn't mind if I was watching, you know, France play England or something like that. But when we're having to watch, you know, these kind of internationals, which again, I've not watched no England games. I haven't. It's one of them things where you just think to yourself, oh, just bring this club football back. But again, Sunday, Man United versus Liverpool. And I'll probably be doing a watch along for that game as well, guys. So if you guys want to jump on for the watch along, then yeah, by all means, man, make sure you guys come through. I'll be organising that for Sunday. And as I said, like, I'm not really going to go into the manager because you guys have probably known my thoughts on the manager already. And the fact that Ratcliffe, you know, has come out saying he needs 3 seasons, 3 years. Yeah, man, this club ain't going nowhere fast, man, in my opinion. So I'm going to watch that game. And as I said, there's a lot riding on this game because Liverpool have lost 3 games in a row. They're at home against their rivals, so they're going to want to bounce back. And obviously, Amarim's under huge pressure. So, yeah, listen, something's got to give in that game. And as I said, man, yeah, it's just crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy. But, yeah, it'd be a good game to watch, man. Good game to watch. So, yeah, hope history doesn't repeat itself. Yeah, listen. Do I believe United get beat 7-7, or what was it that Liverpool beat us before? I don't. I don't think it'll be that big of a scoreline. But what I will tell you, this game's going to come down to the first half, because if Liverpool start quick and United don't get up to speed with the game, then I think it could be all over. And I think Liverpool are going to have every more of a reason to go for United. Every more reason to go for United. So it's going to be a good game. And again, the team selection, which we're going to get into the team selection. So I'm going to possibly do that on Friday. You know, his likely team selection, which again, I've got a feeling what team he's going to play. You know, I think it's quite obvious what he's going to do. And we'll get into that. So yeah, man. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. Yeah, definitely gonna do a watch along for that game, man, for Sunday. 100%, man. I think personally, the score, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say, I don't think I don't think United score. You know, I don't know why. I just don't think they score, because I think if this game was at Old Trafford, I'd probably fancy United to definitely score, and at worst, I think get a draw against Liverpool at home. I think away from home, I'm gonna say 2-0 Liverpool. 2-0 Liverpool, I'm gonna say. So yeah. And obviously, guys, on the following Monday, obviously Jonas is gonna be back on. Obviously, we're not streaming today at 6, but next Monday, Jonas is gonna be back on. Obviously, Liverpool fan. So yeah, we're gonna discuss obviously the fallout of that game. You know, so he's a massive Liverpool fan. So yeah, make sure you guys come through as well and support the channel, man, and get involved in the convo there. Because as I said, he's a massive Liverpool fan, and last time we had him on, the guy was in bits, man, at what's happening to his team. So yeah, we'll see what's happening. But yeah, listen, I mean, if it's gonna be a draw, I mean, I wouldn't be against that, because I definitely do think it's one of them things where United will be going in there to shut up shop, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be expansive. But I think, as I said, it's going to come down to the lineup, and it's going to come down to the first 20 minutes, the first half for me, of that game. And I think if Liverpool get a couple of goals up, or if they go a goal up, I can see them winning the game for me, you know. So yeah, I think I heard Konate was injured. Yeah, I heard he was injured, but for the internationals, but he might be back now, so who knows. Van Dijk's already defending. Yeah, well, listen, his aura defending hasn't helped the last 3 games, is it? So yeah, listen. So first time on your live, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm not impressed. Nearly every Liverpool game has been a last-minute winner. Either way, flip of a coin football, Liverpool in a false position. Yeah, big up, man. Big up for coming on, Ron. You know what it is, Ron, yeah? I was someone that was saying at the start of the season, you know, when Liverpool made all those signings, I said, for me, I had Man City to win the league, because I thought the 3 signings they've made, I know 2 of them have been injured, but I just said, Pep, you know, getting back with his wife, you know, obviously City now having something to prove. I just said, you know what? I can see City winning this league. Then when I think Liverpool made the signings they made and got Isak through the door, I just edged Liverpool. I think start of the season, having seen, you know, all the teams play, I'm definitely going to stay Man City now, because I know Man City haven't been scintillating, but neither have Liverpool. And again, there's no point mentioning Arsenal, because we just know what Arsenal do. They get everyone's hopes up, and then at the end, they just fall apart. So, but as I said, me personally, I think the signings have been very good. But again, if any of you guys have been watching the channel, you would know that I said at the start of the season, I said, for me, Liverpool need to go and change to a 3 at the back, because the players they brought in, and I'm going to mention Mo Salah, because again, Ron, you're a Liverpool fan, and you'll be best placed to see Mo Salah. Mo Salah, wasn't really great last season. He just got numbers. And again, this season, I thought if they play a three at the back, it's going to help Salah. You think of Jeremy Frimpong, who's a right wing back. He could have been Salah's legs out on that right hand side, and then you could have used Salah more infield to you could have used Salah more infield for his to be close to the goal, and just rely on him just getting numbers in that sense. So the fact that he never went to a three at the back, I wasn't shocked, but I was thinking he might be missing a trick, because that definitely does help Salah. Because if you're thinking of Salah's lost his legs, which is quite evident, you could have used Jeremy Frimpong as Salah's legs and allow Salah to be close to goal to get more numbers. Not to mention, if you've got Konate one side, and let's say they went and bought a left-sided centre-back. Again, I was saying Castello Lukeba from Red Bull Leipzig. I'm surprised no one actually signed him. But having him and Konate, two French players as well, either side of the captain, the leader, Van Dijk, to orchestrate, that would have been a great base for the defence, and having Alisson in goal. And then you could have had Kirkes and Frimpong as the two wing-backs, and have a midfield two of Gravenberch, McAllister, or if you want to play Szoboszlai in there or whoever. And then for me, having, a left 10, inside 10, Florian Wirtz, one of my favourite players. And I think even though Mo Salah is not a 10, I just think Salah with his numbers and the fact that his legs are gone, and then you got Isak or Ekatike as the strikers, I think that'd have been better for Liverpool. And again, you've got players obviously on the bench that can change the game as well. But I was surprised that they never went for that, But to think that they went 5 out of 5 wins, and obviously they were nicking games at the end, and then they lost last 3 games, I think it kind of tells you where Liverpool's at right now. And I think they definitely do need this win. Who would have thought, going into this game on Sunday, that Liverpool actually need the win more than Man United? I would never have thought that. But it's what it is. Big up to Barbara Joseph each and every time. Big up. Big up. Big up to all the mods as well, man. So yeah, as I said, man, I definitely do think they need this win for the confidence. And I think in terms of team selection, there's going to be question marks over Mo Salah. I think definitely, if Mo Salah, because obviously Mo Salah is going to start this game, against United. I think if Liverpool wasn't to win the game and Salah's poor again, there's going to be a lot of question marks as to Salah starting for me. And I definitely do think as well with Mo Salah, it's one of them things that, people are going to be looking at the fact that he's got the new contract. Is he not that bothered? I don't think it's so much that. I just think Salah, I've never been a massive fan of Salah. I think Salah has great numbers, but he's not a great player for me. But there's no denying that his legs are gone, and I think Slot should have provided a formation to get the best out of your highest earner for me. But I do think Liverpool are definitely going to be there or thereabouts. But I'm going to say Man City. I don't think Arsenal win the league. Well, in actual fact, I'm going to change that. I know Arsenal won't win the league. They won't win the league, Arsenal. I think people are looking at Arsenal now as they've brought in strength and depth. They're top of the league, etc. 2 out of 2 in the Champions League as well. But again, it's early days, man. It's 7 games into the season. It's 2 games into the Champions League. And people have to remember the season's a marathon, not a sprint. So again, man, it's one of them things where I definitely can see Man City, because again, Man City are only 3 points off the top as well. People forgetting. And this is a Man City that have not really hit their strides. So, and I definitely do think Man City are one of them teams in this league that can reel off about 6 or 7 games in a row just wins. They've been there, done that before. So to think that City are only 3 points from the top, again, if they play before Arsenal and win, or play before the other teams, they can go to the top. And then you think of, they're used to being at the top, and teams chasing them down. So they've got that experience. So I definitely think it's one to watch, 100%. So Eddie, there is more chance for Neymar to be fit during his sister's birthday as compared to Arsenal winning the league. Yeah, listen, I understand that, man. I think the only thing Arsenal can win this season, yeah, I'll be honest. The only thing Arsenal win this season is probably the hearts of their fans. Like that's the only thing for trying again. But in terms of trophies and the major trophies, forget about it. I actually had a bet, with someone, and I'm still waiting for him to pay me my money. To be fair, I said to him, this was about 2 or 3 years ago. I said to him that Man United will win a trophy before Arsenal, any trophy. And as bad as we are, look what happens. It is what it is. That is what you call, guys, football heritage. That is what you call football heritage. So Messi's in the chat. Big up. Guys, make sure we're voting and make sure we're smashing the like button and make sure you guys are subbing to the channel if you're new. And as I said, guys, make sure you guys start becoming a member on the channel. There's some exclusive perks on the channel once we get a few of you members in there. As I said, there's some good posts that I've got in there right now for the members only. And also I'll be doing a live Q&A, a live fan call-in show as well. So if there's any of you that wants to come and have your say, whether you want to be on camera or not, then as I said, make sure you guys become a member. And as I said, I've got my fight coming up on the 6th of December. So I'll be giving some exclusive footage of my training, etc. That will be going up in my members only section. So again, make sure you guys are supporting the channel and it'll be much appreciated, guys. Big up yourselves. So the poll at the moment. So who is the best striker of their generation? Benzema, Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski. Lewandowski ahead at the moment on 38%. Benzema on 29%. Suarez and Aguero on 17%. So yeah, guys, make sure you guys keep voting. So why don't you think Arsenal can't win the league? Because Arteta's in his 7th season now and he's failed 7 times, 7 times. There's your answer. I mean, I know Arsenal are going through a good period at the moment, but if you check the 2 games against the 2 title favourites, they've got 1 point, and it was a lucky point against City. Let's be honest. So they're gonna have to beat those teams, yeah, when they play them. So they've got Liverpool at home, Man City away, and for me, for Arsenal to win the league title, it's going to be in taking points off your rivals for the league title. And do I believe they can win games against those 2? I don't. Because let's face it, that Man City game, if it wasn't for confusion in defence, City win that 1-0. I think Pep played into Arteta's hands a bit for the substitutions that he made. He tried something different. The Newcastle game, let's not forget as well. I know Arsenal won that, but Gabriel should have been sent off. 100% should have been sent off. And that would have been that game. Arsenal wouldn't have won that because it's ironic that he actually scores the winner, And as I said, Liverpool, they got beat away from home. So again, long way to go in the league title race though. Yeah, big up to Fatur, man. Leon Benzema was insane. Yeah, listen. Benzema, I mean, if anyone remembers the game at Old Trafford, Leon versus Manchester United, and a young Benzema. I believe Benzema at the time there was, I want to say he was about 19 or 20, I think. And again, he was up against Rio Ferdinand, and I think he might have been Vidic, can't remember. And Benzema was running the show, man. I can't remember what the score was. I think Leon actually got beat, but yeah, that's when Benzema was letting everyone know who he is. And then, obviously, after that, I think it was after that season, that's when he got bought by Real Madrid. But let's not forget, Man United were meant to be signing Benzema. So we missed out on Benzema. The amount of players United have missed out on throughout the years. Benzema, Ronaldinho, Hazard. You're looking at 3 of the greatest players to play the game. And United missed out on all 3 of them. So it's annoying, man. Nah, listen, I don't think Arsenal are too good, man. I disagree. I don't think they're too good. I think at this moment in time, The big part of Arsenal's team is their defence. They are quite solid at the back, but it's not hard to be solid at the back when your team is set up defensively. I think people need to be not wary, but be aware of Arsenal. Arsenal set up defensively, so there's no surprise why their defence doesn't really get breached as much. The problem that Arsenal have is when they go out and attack, this is where they could come unstuck. And as I said, their test is up against the best teams. That's where I'll be looking at Arsenal. Against the teams in this league that they should be beating, they probably will beat them. But against the best teams, where Arteta's got to tactically outclass the opposition, I just don't think he's going to have what it takes. And this is where you're going to see it. So there's a long way to go, man. So we're going to see. Long way to go. So how many seasons without a trophy has Arteta got left before Arsenal fans turn on him? For me, they should have turned on him already. I think any Arsenal fan really that is sticking with Arteta, I think if you're honest with yourself, it means that you've lowered the standards for the club. That's the honest truth, because there's some Arsenal fans out there, a few of them that I do listen to as well. They're not having Arteta, and I'll be honest with you, I can see why. Because when you've got a manager, he ticks the boxes for a lot for the owners. That's what it is. But in terms of the amount of money Arsenal spent and what they've got to show for it, as an Arsenal fan, you should be outraged. And I think this is why, for me, it's not even about how many seasons without a trophy. The reality is they should have turned against him 2 or 3 seasons ago, because finishing second 3 times in a row, people look at that as a positive. For me, that just means you're the first loser. That's how I see it, because for me, in a league title race, second is not an option. That's the sign of a winner, for me. But there's some fans that are actually satisfied with Arsenal finishing in second place because they look at it as progression. As I said before, I got a friend that said to me, if Arsenal finish outside the top 2, he'll definitely give Arteta another season. And again, that's just lowering the standards, because I just don't understand, as a fan, if you've got Arsenal inside the top 2 and they somehow finish outside the top 2, why would you be giving Arteta patience? Because surely the next route from finishing in the top 2 is to actually win the thing. But he actually told me he'll give him another season because he looks at it as a blip if Arsenal don't finish inside the top 2, which I don't really understand. But, it's one of them things. Everyone has their opinions, and yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. If you could bring back one United player from the past in his prime, who would it be and why? Yeah, listen, I've answered this so many times. For me, it's gonna be. It's difficult. It's difficult. If I'm looking at the part of the team that needs improving, actually, I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably say. Difficult. It's difficult. I'll tell you one player I'd love to have in this team, not in this system. If he was fit and healthy, is a Paul Pogba, 100% Paul Pogba. But if we're talking about from history, I'd probably say has to be Eric Cantona for me. Eric Cantona, King Cantona, has to be Cantona. Yeah, I'll say Cantona. Big up to Daniela. Big up for coming through. So, again, when people say Man United need Roy Keane more than anyone, you know what it is now, yeah? I disagree, and I'll tell you why I disagree. Because the only reason why people say Roy Keane is because they think Roy Keane's going to go in the changing room and start knocking heads together. That's the only reason. But what I would say, again, we're not behind the scenes to see what that dressing room's like. We can only imagine. But I wouldn't bring Roy Keane back in because Roy Keane's going to steam into players, etc. And it's not about that for me, because I just think that's all fake bravado nonsense. You know, I'm looking at someone like Eric Cantona with his aura, you know, because there's no denying when Cantona was at Man United, you know, his aura and his ability, you know, he used to win games on his own. You know, he made the team play better as a whole. You know, you could say Jaap Stam. Jaap Stam was a leader at the back, you know. There's loads of players. You can say Paul Scholes, you know, conductor. But I think when people say Roy Keane, I think it's more because people looking at Roy Keane as a leader and think Roy Keane's going to go in the change rooms and start doing all this. You know, I'm not really of that opinion, because I look at Matthias de Ligt, I look at Casemiro. Those two are leaders in my opinion, you know, but they're two players that are not part of the leadership group from what I've heard. So, so I think those two are massive personalities for me, which is why I don't think a Roy Keane would be needed, you know. So yeah, I'm looking at an Eric Cantona for me, you know. But there's loads of players you can choose from. There's loads. Yeah, Gyökeres, man. Let's move on from Gyökeres. I agree. They do lack winners in their squad. I mean, who's the one winner in Arsenal's team? They ain't really got one. I mean, David Raya's not a winner. Has Timber won a Dutch title with Ajax? Possibly. Gabriel's not a winner. Saliba's not a winner. Lewis Skelly's from the youth. Calafiori's not a winner. Declan Rice is not. I mean, Declan Rice has won a Europa League. Yeah, I mean, is he a winner? He's not won the big trophies, but he's won a Europa League. Odegaard's not a winner. Saka's not a winner. Martinelli's not a winner. Gyökeres has won a Portuguese title. But again, their squad is littered with players that haven't really won the big trophies. They haven't. They haven't won the big trophies. So yeah, this is what it's going to come down to, and this is what they got to prove as well. Yeah, listen, it has to be Cantona, man, for me. Cantona was different, man. Peter Schmeichel, moody bastard, to be honest with you, Peter Schmeichel. But yeah, listen, one of the best keepers in the Premier League for me. But again, do I think he would make a massive difference to what United need? I think with Man United, a lot of it is on the pitch. You know what I mean? The 11. I think it's the formation for me. I think if you change this formation, you get better performances from a lot of players that, you know, others don't either rate or are not playing. So, but when people are saying goalkeeper or saying Roy Keane, for instance, you know, I think it's a case because they're the two problem areas on the pitch right now. But I think a lot of it has to do with the formation for me, you know. Yeah, yes, listen. Yeah, people say Rio Ferdinand. I mean, I prefer Jaap Stam. Yeah, I don't think people know how good Jaap Stam was, you know. Because when you look at Man United's... If you look at the best defenders of the Premier League era, yeah, people will say John Terry, Van Dijk's talked about as well. There's probably a few others, Rio Ferdinand as well. But for me, you can't look past Jaap Stam. Jaap Stam was ridiculous. Like, Jaap Stam was absolutely ridiculous. And again, the only reason Jaap Stam left Man United because of the fallout from the book that he had with Ferguson. But Jaap Stam was a joke, man. Absolute joke. Liverpool United, two biggest clubs in this country with great history. It's sad the way they are run by people who don't care about the working class fans from their cities. Yeah, listen, I hear that to an extent. You know, I think, again, why are we surprised? I mean, you know, these guys are businessmen. So when you're a businessman, you're not going to care about the working class fans. But a lot of fans don't really help their cause either, in my opinion, you know. So yeah, nah, let's listen. I think people are going to have their point of views from owners and stuff like that. But one thing I will tell you, when the club's doing well, you don't hear nothing about the owners. So this is the problem. You know, when you're winning, no one cares about the owners or cares about people that are losing their jobs. People only talk about these things when the club's doing poor. So yeah, this is the problem. But listen, Glazers are here, and there's been talk about a takeover, but again, I'm not really entertaining that because you know we've heard all this before. But until someone viable can get them out of the club, then it's the same old stuff, really. You know what I mean? It's not going to change. And as I said, when you're winning, no one cares about the owners. Let's be honest. You know, that's a fact. Eze's a winner. Eze's a top player, but he's not a winner. What's Eze won? What he's won FA? What do you win? FA Cup. Again, we're talking about major trophies, and there's not really no one in that squad that's won major trophies, really. You know. So a bit unfair on Keane. You win pretty much every midfield battle in most games with him and your team. But again, like football's changed, isn't it? Like, would Roy Keane survive in this in football now in this era at his peak? I'm not too sure. I don't know because again, Roy Keane was a 4-4-2 man. You know, two midfielders. Obviously, a lot of midfielders now play for three. You know, again, Roy Keane for Man United was a great captain, a great leader. He was, but I think to say that Man United will win every midfield battle with him in it, what's that based on? That's what I'd like to know. Because I think a lot of that is based on his passion for the game. But passion doesn't win you midfield battles. It doesn't. And especially in an era now where footballers are more programmed in the sense of, you know, maybe they're too overcoached. So coaching might be an issue with that, you know. Whereas Roy Keane and his leadership, etc., I don't think that's just enough to win you games in this era of football, in my opinion. So I don't know. But again, Roy Keane was a top player. Like I think people look past the fact that he was a leader and a winner. They look past his actual quality. But Roy Keane was actually a good midfielder. But to say he's the one player that United need, I think people are just saying that because of the passion he would bring to that team. And that doesn't necessarily get you over the line. It's not. So yeah, I'm going to say Eric Cantona, 100%. But big up. Yeah, listen, Yapstam's better than Rio. For me, he is. You know, I think Rio, in terms of on the ball, was more elegant. You know, he was more elegant on the ball. But listen, Yapstam was an absolute joke. An absolute joke, man. Like, Yapstam could play. The thing is, Yapstam, for me, wasn't Rio Ferdinand on the ball. He wasn't, yeah? But he could still play. But in terms of strength, recovery pace, and as someone said, Yap was a wall, yeah? Yapstam was literally that. He was literally unstoppable. Like he was an absolute joke, man. So people that are saying Yapstam better than Rio Ferdinand, listen, I don't think you're wrong because I think he is. You know, I think Yapstam is someone that was slept on. You know, look at when Yapstam went to AC Milan. Yapstam and Alessandro Nesta as two centre backs with Cafu and Maldini at fullback. I mean, tell me how you get in through that defence. You know what I mean? Ridiculous defence. Gav, will Gyökeres get more than 15 GA in the rest of the season? I should think so. I mean, 15 GA for a striker, that's probably going to play the majority of the games. It's not really hard to do when you think about it because all he's got to get really is, what, 10 goals, 5 assists or, you know, 8 goals and, what, about 6 assists. Like, it's not really that difficult to do, you know. So, yeah. I don't think, it's not difficult to do, really. I think at the moment he's got, what, 4 goals, I believe. So, yeah, that's not really difficult to do for Gyökeres. I think for Gyökeres to have a successful season for me is he'd probably, and if Arsenal are to do anything this season, he's going to need to hit probably 20 plus league goals, I would say. Like, not GA, 20 plus league goals. I think if he hits 20 plus league goals, that'll probably give you a good idea of what Arsenal are actually doing in the league. And the one question mark against Gyökeres is he doesn't show up against the best teams. And that goes for a lot of players. So I just don't know, man. But I think, obviously Lumi, one of the mods, said to me that, Gyökeres is going to get 20 league goals, 20 plus league goals. And I think if he does that, then he's had a good season. Do I think he does that? I'm not too sure, because you've got to factor in injuries, loss of form, and again, he's got 4 goals, but 2 of them come against Leeds, I believe, and the others, I can't remember who he scored against, but yeah. But if he gets 15 GA, I mean, I say I don't think that's hard to do. So I don't know why, but my top 3 players are bald. So who's the top 3 players? Who's that? So Zidane. I'm trying to think the bald ones. Iniesta. No, Iniesta's not bald. No, he ain't bald. Who's the bald ones? I can't really tell you, man. Who's the bald ones? The only ones I can think of is Zidane. Mascherano, could be. Who knows? Oh, okay. R9, Zidane, and Yap. Okay. I forgot R9 had no hair. So unless Arsenal give penalties to Gyökeres, he isn't scoring 15 goals. You know what? It's mad. It's mad because Saka's the penalty taker, and obviously Gyökeres was penalty taker at Sporting Lisbon. But I think it's safe to say that Gyökeres will be struggling to get on that penalties as long as Saka's there, to be honest. But who knows, man? Yeah, that AC Milan back 4. Listen. And Dida in goal. Madness. Absolute madness. So do you think Ruben survives the season? No. I don't think he does. I don't think he does personally. And my reasons why he doesn't survive the season is because as long as this manager continues in this role with this system, with his player identification as well, the players that he rates. No, I don't. And again, why you need to realize why it's not going to last, yeah? All you need to do is have a look at Ruben Amorim's, because again, the only way this manager he keeps getting away with it is if he keeps nicking wins, yeah. And as I said, like with this manager, yeah, he's nicking wins, but have a look at who the wins are coming against, and this will tell you everything, yeah. The wins have come against teams that are either been down to 10 men, or teams that have been relegated, or teams that have just been promoted. So again, don't take my word for it. Go and check for yourselves, because he's got 10 wins in the Premier League as a Manchester United manager. To think that Manchester United's manager has 10 wins and he's been here for what, 9 months? This is why he won't survive, guys, because, Aston Villa, he's won 10 men. Martinez got sent off. Chelsea, recently, they were down to 10 men. And again, keeper got sent off, Robert Sanchez, yeah? And again, even though it was equal in the end, the second half, United actually lost the game. So that's 2 teams down to 10 men they've lost. Burnley, newly promoted, yeah? Got a penalty, and really and truly, it wasn't a penalty. Ahmad was fouled, but outside the box. That's 3 teams. Sunderland, beat them 2-0. That's 4 teams. Who else did they beat? If anyone else knows, put that in the chat, guys. So that's 4 teams I've named that have either been down to 10 men or relegated, and they're part of Amorim's wins. So 6 more. I'm trying to think. Who else were they that he's beat? Oh, Man City he beat. Okay, yeah, Man City. So probably the Man City game is probably one of the only games where he's just won the game. Who else was there? But again, City had chances, but United just obviously overcome that. Great goal from Ahmad. Who else was they? The wins coming against. Again, if anyone else knows the wins, let me know in the chat. I can't think off the top of my head. But um, but as I said, man, it's one of them things for me that he can't possibly survive the whole season. He can't, because it's gonna come to a point, yeah, that it's gonna come to a point that these owners and Ratcliffe, no matter what he says, has to pull the plug. I mean, when I'm hearing three years, he cannot believe that. And then when he used Arteta as the measuring stick, this is when I thought, yeah, he's lost his mind. So he's lost his mind. But yeah, guys, push up the likes. Big up, Exedra. Big up, man. Guys, smash the like button and sub to the channel, man, if you're enjoying the content. As I said, there's more content on there, so make sure you guys are checking that out as well. So which manager can you see coming in realistically, and who would you like to see next? Again, I think there's no surprise, Glasner, Iraola, Xavi, Zidane. I think they're the four names that have constantly been talked about. But as I keep saying, just go and get me a manager that wants to play a 4-2-3-1, play players in their best positions, play the best players, and that's a good start. That's all I ask for right now, because watching Man United every week, is not only boring, but it's draining as well. Because realistically, you're getting shit football, and this manager keeps scamming results, which I'm not really here for. So as I said, those four managers there are the names that's been talked about more. But I just want a manager that's just going to play the best players and play a 4-2-3-1, Because this 3-4-2-1 that we're watching right now is just frustrating, because you just get the majority of the players not in their best positions or either playing. Yeah, exactly. I agree. When you're playing three at the back, yeah, again, the problem with this manager, yeah, is that the way the three at the back realistically isn't a problem as such. It's the way the manager sees the system. Because you can have a three at the back, yeah, but it's an attacking team. Yeah. But in this system where you're playing with no wingers, the width comes from the wing backs. So if you want to be attacking, let's say, and you're at home, it just means that your wing backs need to be wingers. It's not rocket science. Put wing backs, put the wingers as the wing backs, because that will make your team attacking. Because when he sets up with Dalot and then he plays let's say he plays Dalot and Mazraoui, which he has done before, you're automatically gonna play five at the back. And again, I can see him playing both those players against Liverpool. But that means you're playing five at the back, which means your attacking outlet are only going to be three players, which is your two number 10s and the striker. So for me, it's his interpretation of how he sees the team. The fact that he's playing Ahmad, even though Ahmad's a 10, he plays him at wing back. I hate, even though he's playing an attacker in that position, I just hate seeing Ahmad as a wing back because he's a number 10. Yeah. And then you've got Mbeumo, who's a winger playing as a 10. Cunha, who's a 10 playing as a 9. There's so many problems with this formation and how he sees it. So again, if you're in opposition and you're seeing United at home with three at the back, and then you're seeing defenders at wing back, you are thinking happy days. You are, because it just means that. And what makes me laugh, yeah, why no team has really tried this, which I'm surprised, yeah. Why no team has tried to play two strikers against United's three? I know the game has gone away from the 4-4-2s and the 3-5-2s, etc. Yeah, but I just don't understand why there hasn't been teams that have set up with against Man United having two strikers up there. Because I can guarantee you this year, if a team went to United and played let's say an old school 4-4-2, they would give United problems because having two strikers against, because more or less, yeah, it's gonna give your left and right sided centre backs problems because who are they gonna mark? This is the problem, yeah. And I'm surprised no team has actually picked up on this because if you got Matthias de Ligt as the centre back marking one striker, and then you've still got another striker up there, what does the left sided centre back or the right side centre back go and do? You know, because it changes things. And again, I'm not sure why other teams haven't adopted that approach, going with two strikers up there to give them different things to think about. You know, it's one to look at. Yeah, listen, De Zerbi, I wanted De Zerbi before United got Amorim, but obviously he went to Marseille. Zidane's always been my number one choice, you know, for many reasons, but it's always been a bit of an unrealistic one as well. So, is what it is, man. Southgate, nah, listen, let's not do that, man. Let's not do that. Inji says, do you play eFootball? You know what's mad? I'm actually a Pro Evo guy. You know, obviously eFootball now is Pro Evo, more or less, yeah. But Pro Evo is my original game. And then now I play more FIFA because again, FIFA's, you know, the stadiums, the gameplay. Again, many people probably won't even know this, yeah. But the reason why FIFA's gameplay is the way it is now is because one of the guys that was one of the main creators of Pro Evo is actually at FIFA now, which is why FIFA's gameplay has changed. Because, again, I played FIFA when it was FIFA 96, where you could only score from the wing, you know, and then FIFA 97 was indoor football, you know. So again, I've played the FIFAs. Obviously, FIFA now I play it, but I haven't played Pro Evo in time. And eFootball, I've actually got one I downloaded the other day actually, but I haven't really played it too tough. But nah, no Mourinho, man, no Mourinho. But yeah, I haven't really played it lately, but I can't bring myself to play it sometimes, man, from what's happened to it. So let's check in the poll again. So 33 votes, 33% Lewandowski. Suarez has come from nowhere. 30%, 24% Benzema, 12% Aguero. You know what's actually funny, yeah? Who's actually better, Suarez or Aguero? Who's better, Suarez or Aguero? Because for me, that's probably one of the difficult ones, you know. Two South Americans, Argentinian, Uruguayan. You know, both players with low centre of gravity. You know, you've got one in Aguero who's probably more the fox in the box kind of striker. I think Suarez going to Barcelona was more the target man. But again, Suarez at Liverpool was more of the maverick, you know. But two great strikers. Guys, let me know what you think. Who's the better striker, Suarez or Aguero? I'd possibly have to say, and there's nothing in it, I'll just say Aguero. Just say Aguero, but part of me thinks Suarez. I just don't know. But I'm just going to say Aguero. Just going to say Aguero for me. But yeah, let me know. Yeah, listen, bro, listen. This poll, as I said, it's not easy because whoever you don't pick, it's a problem for me because they're four the best strikers of their era. They are. No one can deny that. You know, I'm not Harry Kane for me was slightly younger than all them. So that's obviously, and you can only put four players anyway. But if you're looking at that era when you had Benzema at Real Madrid, Suarez at Barcelona, Aguero at Man City, Lewandowski at Bayern Munich, yeah, they were the four best strikers in the world. I don't think there's no one else that can be in a combo there. You know, as I said, bar Harry Kane, you would probably say. So anyone you pick, yeah. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. Listen, if anyone didn't know, man, FIFA 97 was indoor football. I promise you. And you know how bad the game was, yeah? It was a case where this was the day when Alan Shearer was in there. Yeah, you'd be playing indoor football, and you can face your own goal and press the shoot button, and then he'll just turn around and shoot. Like the game was just ridiculous. Like, and back then it was normal. And you look back now, and you think, shit, how was I playing that game? But I promise you, that game was real. It was a real game. Like, you'd be winning games like 12-4 indoor or something like that. You know, batter shooter was deadly on it. You know, you'd be facing the wrong way, and then you press the shoot button, and he just turns his body round and shoots. So, yeah, that game was ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. I look back now and I think, yeah, this game's fake, man. You can't be playing this game. Yeah, come on, Ron, man. This is football. Of course. Of course. This is football. If you guys know your football, yeah? International Superstar Soccer Pro. What did that become? What did that become? I've probably given it away, but yeah, listen. Some serious games, man. Yeah, listen. Suarez or Aguero? Yeah, listen. I can't disagree with that, Exedra. I think technically Aguero was better. Overall, Suarez was the better striker. You know what? Yeah, I probably think you're right, but I don't really want to say it, man, because Aguero was one of my favorites, man. Yeah, listen, he was a problem, man. Even Suarez even scoring goals for Ajax before he went to Liverpool. So yeah, man, he was ridiculous. But so legacy pushes Suarez up. If Aguero played for a different club like Big Guns, maybe it would be Aguero for me. I don't know. I don't know because again, Man City were a club on the up, so you can kind of say they were one of the big guns. But I hear it. But again, Liverpool when Suarez went there, they wasn't what Liverpool are now. You would say. So again, it's different, man. But when Suarez went to Barcelona with MSN, that free, yeah. Listen, I don't think there's been a better free in football for me. You know, Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Messi. You know, Robin, Ribéry, Lewandowski. Probably a few others as well. But that three there, MSN, yeah, deadly. Literally, they had everything. Creators and goal scorers. And when you've got that, out of all three players who are in Messi and Neymar, creators first, Suarez goal scorer, but then Suarez is a creator, and Messi and Neymar are creators and goal scorers as well. It's ultimate, man. Ultimate. That's the best three for me. So in that order, Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski, Benzema. Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski. So Benzema last? Nah. No way is Benzema last for me. No way. No way is Benzema last. But again, whoever you put fourth, it could be anyone. But for me, Benzema's at the top for me. At the top. Slide tackling the keeper for a red card. Yeah, listen, that Suarez goal against Liverpool, against Newcastle, sorry, where he controlled it on his shoulder. Yeah, listen, I mean, first and foremost, yeah, the touch to kill it dead like that, ridiculous. But again, his goals for Liverpool were ridiculous. I mean, the one where he flicked it over, I think against Norwich. I think that game he bagged 4. I think against Norwich, where he flicked it over the guy's head, hit it top corner. The one where he scored from long range at Carrow Road, I believe, against Norwich as well. The guy was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, listen, Benzema number 1. I don't think people know how good Benzema is. Like Benzema's ridiculous, man. He's ridiculous. And again, he's the only one in that list that's won the Ballon d'Or. Let's not forget. I know Lewandowski should have probably won it when he got scrapped, but he's the only one in that list that's won Ballon d'Or. I think people are sleeping on Benzema. I mean, 4 great strikers, but Benzema's had to be number 1 for me. Has to be. People are sleeping on him. Nah, he's top, man. I'm not gonna hear anything else. I can't. Benzema has to be top, man, for me. But listen, it's opinions, man. It's opinions, and it is what it is. But yeah, he has to be up there for me. Again, this order's difficult because if I'm doing an order right now, I'm gonna say Benzema number one, Aguero two, Suarez three, Lewandowski fourth. That's what I'll probably say. But again, I just don't know, man, if that's the right order because it's difficult. But I don't think no one can argue with Benzema, man. For me, I just don't see how Benzema can't be first. Yeah, now Lewandowski's a top player, man. But this order's hard, and yeah, it's difficult, man. It is difficult. It's very difficult, but yeah, whoever you put second and third, listen, I'm not gonna complain, man, because it's a literally hard order to predict, but is what it is, isn't it? I think it's sad you don't see one man club players anymore. Yeah, but it's a different era of football, man. You have to realize as well, football's a business now. It's not a sport no more. It's a business. So players are only gonna go where they're getting the best money, or what suits them for their career. Unfortunately, football's changed a lot, man. As I said, the quality of players has gone down. The one club man, all that kind of stuff. That's all done. It's changed, man. It's changed. It's definitely changed. I mean, look at Francesco Totti, for instance. Francesco Totti didn't play for no one but Roma, And again, he's someone that was one of the best players in the world. But many people probably won't talk about it because he was at Roma. But I tell you now, I remember when it was Totti and Cassano. Yeah, if anyone remembers, Totti and Cassano at Roma. And they had, what's his face? Was it Emerson in midfield? Vincent Candela, left back, I think he was. Um, who else did they have? Cafu. They had a ridiculous team. But that Cassano and Totti, yeah, listen, madness. But Totti was just, Totti was Roma. He was Roma, before, and obviously Daniele De Rossi came and took over once Totti retired. But listen, man, then one club men, you don't really get it no more. The likes of John Terry and Steven Gerrard, etc. Even though Gerrard wanted to leave Liverpool, you don't really get them no more, man. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Guys, bear me 1 minute. Little delivery, guys. My bad. So yeah, players can see themselves as brands. They are. That's what it is. That's where football's gone. You look at social media, you look at all these other things as well, and it's nah, not even, man, not even. Just I had to get something for the boxing, man. I had to order myself some new gloves. Because I got 12-ounce gloves, so I need 16. So for the training. So they come just now, man. Amazon delivery. So yeah, man. But yeah, the one man club. It's not gonna happen no more, man. It's not, unfortunately. You know. If you're at your boyhood club, you got the beautiful woman, wife, fancy car, big house, millions in the bank. What more you need? Yeah, listen, I hear all that, man. I hear all that, but as I said, man, I think that's more for the era before. I think now it's more of a case where, as Fitz said, man, players are brands now, and if they're at a club and it's not really, it's hurting their brand when the club's not doing too well, and they get an offer, they're gonna go, man, regardless if they're from the youth and all that stuff. Football's changed a lot, man. It has, and you know, I think people just get used to it now, and yeah, it's definitely one of them things. But yeah, it's not much we can change really. But Yeah, one of them things. What a random message, man. Ambriz Fair is in Mexico. Juarez jail. Big up to Ambriz, man. Big up. Big up, man. One of the maddest chats I've seen for a little while. But yeah, big up, man. If you're watching from jail, man, keep your head high. But yeah, guys, big up yourselves anyway. I'm gonna bounce. But yeah, listen. As I said, guys, I've got some content that's gonna be coming out. As Fitz says, man, yeah, free up Ambriz. Free up Ambriz, man. Big up for coming through. But guys, big up yourselves each and every time for coming through and contributing to the channel. As I said, you know, there is some good content on there. There will be some content for members once you guys, you know, if you do want to become a member. You know, as I said, there's some posts up there that I've put on there, some pictures from my past that you guys might find interesting, which is members only. You know, again, I'll be doing a live Q&A for members as well. And yeah, there's some big things coming up. As I said, my boxing is coming up as well. And in December, so I'm gonna be doing some content for that as well, which I'll be putting as members only section. So yeah, I went to Manchester Arena a few weeks ago for the BK. Oh, Ben Knuckle one, yeah. What is that with Darren Till? Is that the one with Darren Till when he fought? Forgot his name. What's the guy that he fought? I can't remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. But so yeah, as I said, guys, once you guys become a member, again, for the exclusive members section, oh, James the Girl, okay, there'll be some content for you guys there. And as I said, make sure you guys sub to the channel. Make sure you smash the like button as well. And guys, make sure you share the channel as well to other people. Obviously, try and get the channel's name out there. And as I said, big up to yourselves for coming through and contributing. Big up to all the mods as well, each and every time. Much appreciated. And as I said, yeah, I should be back possibly tomorrow. It's a glorified street fight. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Big up to Fitz, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, as I said, yeah, make sure you guys have got your notifications on. There's no stream today with Jonas, but we're definitely going to be back next Monday. Obviously, he's a Liverpool fan. And as I said, we're going to run through that, obviously, the reaction to that game and get his take on it as well. And yeah, obviously live watching on for Sunday for the Man United Liverpool game as well. So yeah, make sure you guys are supporting the channel as well and coming through. And as I said, guys, yeah, it's much appreciated you guys coming through, tuning in. And I should be back possibly tomorrow. Not sure what time. You know, it'll be if I am back in the morning, it'll definitely be earlier than this time. So normally go live at 10:30 in the morning or 11:30, but I'm trying to do 10:30. So yeah, make sure you guys have got your notifications on to see when I go live. And as I said, big up yourselves, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.